Welcome back, numismatists and history buffs. Today, we're holding a coin that most people would dismiss as pocket change. But what if I told you that a single, tiny imperfection, or the lack of one, could transform this ordinary quarter into a treasure worth thousands of dollars? We are about to uncover the hidden secrets and million-dollar mistakes hiding in plain sight. First coin. The 1776 1976 Washington quarter dollar is an object of profound contradiction. To the average person, it is a familiar pocket change artifact, a souvenir of the nation's bicentennial celebration that often sits forgotten in a drawer. Yet, hidden within its copper-nickel-clad layers lies a story of national identity, artistic rivalry, and a modern numismatic market defined by an obsessive pursuit of perfection. This is not merely a 25-cent piece. It is a tangible piece of Americana, minted during a time of considerable national turbulence, its true value determined not by its face, but by a complex interplay of preservation, rarity, and the often unpredictable whims of the collecting community. Later in this script, we will examine precisely what authenticated examples of this coin have sold for and explore the granular factors that separate a mundane circulated piece from a prized collector's trophy. The coin's origin is rooted in a moment of national introspection. As the United States approached its 200th birthday, a desire for a commemorative coinage movement swept through Congress, eventually culminating in the authorization of special designs for the quarter, half-dollar, and dollar. A nationwide contest was held to select the new reverse design for the quarter, and the winning entry came from Jack L.R., an art student and Vietnam veteran. His design, a poignant depiction of a colonial drummer boy flanked by a victory torch and encircled by 13 stars, was chosen from over 880 submissions, beating out a design by the prolific sculptor Robert Weinman. It was a victory for the everyman, and the design resonated with a public hungry for a connection to the nation's revolutionary spirit. While the obverse retained John Flanagan's familiar profile of George Washington, it was given the dual date 1776-1976, marking the only time in the quarter's history that a date change was implemented for a commemorative purpose. The Denver Mint, denoted by its D Mint mark, was one of the primary production facilities for this historic issue. While exact mintage figures for the Denver Mint's circulation strikes are often cited in the hundreds of millions, the sheer volume of production is staggering when one considers the entire Philadelphia and Denver outputs combined. However, it is crucial to distinguish between the circulating clad coins, struck in a composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, and the collector-oriented issues struck in 40% silver at the San Francisco Mint. This distinction is the very first determinant of value. Your copper-nickel Denver quarter, which weighs 5.67 grams and has a reeded edge, is physically different from the silver issues that were sold in special sets. The Denver coin, with its common D Mint mark, is far more typical of what one would find in a cash register, while the San Francisco S coins were almost exclusively purchased by collectors and preserved in pristine condition. For the serious numismatist, the 1976 D quarter is a lesson in conditional rarity, a concept where scarcity is defined not by mintage numbers, but by the difficulty of finding a specimen in truly exceptional condition. Millions were struck, but they were handled, bagged, and shipped, inevitably sustaining countless small marks and abrasions. As a result, circulated examples and even many uncirculated coins are worth little more than their face value. The value threshold is reached only when a coin achieves a premium grade from a third-party grading service like PCGS or NGC. For instance, a specimen graded MS-67 or higher becomes significantly scarce. The difference between a near-perfect coin and an average one can represent a leap in value from a few dollars to over $1,000. This quest for high-grade, modern coins is a forward-thinking investment strategy, banking on the belief that these pristine survivors will become exponentially harder to find as time passes and more are lost or damaged. Collector demand for the Denver Bicentennial quarter is also driven by the quest for specific varieties and eras, adding an entirely new dimension to its value. While the D mint mark is common, coins with significant mint errors, such as a double die obverse or reverse, off-center strikes, or the elusive double denomination errors where a quarter was struck over another coin, can command astronomical premiums. An authentic error coin, authenticated and graded by a reputable service, becomes a unique artifact. In some cases, these are not just worth a few $100s, but can escalate to prices far beyond a typical high-grade specimen, demonstrating that for some collectors, the anomaly is more desirable than the perfection. The grade is not the only quality that determines value. The strike itself is a crucial factor, particularly for the reverse design. A common observation among experts is that the top of the drummer's drum is often incompletely struck, leaving the design elements flattened or washed out. An example where the entire drum, including the top clasp and rim, is fully struck and displays full detail is a rare find. Combined with the intrinsic luster and lack of distracting marks, this full drum strike is what separates a $5 coin from one potentially worth $1,000 or more. This pursuit of full strike details is a hallmark of modern coin collecting, analogous to the full bands on Mercury dimes, and it has created a dedicated niche of specialists searching for this specific quality in the Denver Mint's output. For the majority of Denver Bicentennial quarters, the value remains just 25 cents or perhaps $1 or $2 for an uncirculated specimen. The price ceiling for a standard high-grade clad Denver coin is dramatically lower than that of the silver proofs from San Francisco or the rarer era coins. However, documented sales show that a pristine 1976 D in a top-tier grade can approach the $1,000 to $3,000 range, a significant premium over its face value and enough to make any collector pause. The Denver Mint's high production numbers mean that the most valuable examples are limited to the very peak of the grading scale, where only the finest coins reside. In the final analysis, the 1776 1976 D Washington quarter is a microcosm of modern numismatics. It is a coin that, due to its immense mintage, is universally accessible, yet its greatest treasures are locked away in the highest tiers of preservation. Its value is a testament to the collector's never-ending quest for perfection and rarity. Whether subtle differences in a strike, the clarity of a mint mark, and the absence of a single scratch can determine whether a coin is merely a memento of 1976 or a significant investment-grade artifact. The market has definitively spoken. The value of a bicentennial quarter is rarely a matter of the date on the coin, but almost entirely a matter of its history, its physical condition, and its authentication. Next coin. Every so often, a coin emerges that seems to defy the very logic of supply and demand, a piece struck by the tens of millions, yet capable of commanding attention that far exceeds its humble denomination. The 1966 United States Washington quarter dollar is one of those paradoxical treasures, a coin born from an era of rapid change in American coinage, yet one whose true value remains shrouded in mystery for the average person. It is a piece of pocket change that, to the untrained eye, looks utterly ordinary. However, in the hands of a specialist, it tells a story of national transition and numismatic ambition, its collector value defined by nuances that are invisible to the casual observer. Later in this script, we will uncover what authenticated examples of this coin have sold for and explore the precise characteristics that separate a common quarter from a potential windfall. To understand the 1966 quarter, one must first appreciate the chaotic economic landscape of the mid-1960s. A global silver shortage was threatening the nation's coinage supply, and in 1965, the United States Congress passed the Coinage Act, effectively ending the use of silver in dimes and quarters. The iconic Washington quarter, a design by John Flanagan that had remained virtually unchanged since its debut in 1932, was now struck in a new copper-nickel-clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel bonded to pure copper core. This transition resulted in a coin weighing 5.67 grams and measuring 24.3 millimeters in diameter, with a reeded edge that remained a tactile feature of the denomination. The year 1966 represented the second full year of this new clad production, and the Denver and Philadelphia mints were tasked with churning out millions of these pieces to meet the demands of commerce. The obverse of the coin retained the classic left-facing bust of George Washington, a design derived from a bust sculpted by Jean Antin Houdon, while the reverse depicted a majestic heraldic eagle clutching a bundle of arrows, with an olive branch below, symbolizing America's readiness for war and its enduring desire for peace. However, what makes the 1966 issue particularly fascinating is the complete absence of a mint mark. In a move intended to deter coin collectors from hoarding the new clad pieces, the mint decided to remove mint marks for all coins struck from 1965 through 1967, regardless of whether they were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. The lack of an S or D mark created a uniformity that, while frustrating for some historians, ultimately became a defining characteristic of the era, forcing modern-day collectors to rely on other diagnostic features to identify a coin's origin. While the total mintage for the Philadelphia issue, the only non-proof type produced this year at over 821 million pieces, is enormous, the survival of these coins in truly exceptional condition is remarkably low. This is the central paradox of the 1966 Washington quarter. Most were released directly into circulation, where they accumulated the marks of commerce, but a significant portion were also set aside in special mint sets. The U.S. Mint produced approximately 2.2 million of these sets between 1965 and 1967 as a replacement for traditional proof sets, offering collectors a specially struck specimen with a satin-like finish. While these special mint set SMS quarters were preserved, their availability to the public has drastically reduced their scarcity, creating a market where the business strike. The coin that actually circulated is often rarer in high grades than its specially preserved cousin. Collector demand for the 1966 quarter is driven almost entirely by the pursuit of the elusive, near-perfect gem. Since hundreds of millions were struck, circulated examples are worth little more than their face value, but the price escalates dramatically as the grade climbs. A pristine business strike graded MS-67 or higher becomes exceptionally rare, and the price guide for such specimens can ascend into the mid-four-figure range, with a recent MS-69 fetching over $5,000 due to its status as one of the finest known examples. However, the numismatic community must distinguish carefully. The same near-perfect grade on a special mint set coin often yields a lower value due to its higher survival rate, reminding collectors that rarity in the marketplace is not just about mintage figures, but about how many have survived in a specific condition. The market is also a battleground for strike quality and luster. Even in high grades, many 1966 quarters exhibit weakness in the center of Washington's hair and on the eagle's chest feathers, a product of the technological challenges in adapting to the new, harder-clad material. A coin with a full, sharp strike and vibrant, unbroken mint luster, often displaying a satiny or champagne-toned complexion, can command a significant premium over a similarly graded piece with duller surfaces or incomplete details. Third-party grading services like PCGS and NGC have become the gatekeepers of this market, verifying not just the authenticity, but the numerical grade that dictates whether a coin is worth $20 or $2,000, and their certification is essential for any serious transaction. Ultimately, the value of the 1966 Washington quarter is determined by a simple but unforgiving equation: supply versus demand in the highest echelons of the grading scale. While most examples languish in change jars, those certified as exceptional quality represent a niche investment. When authenticated examples of the finest 1966 business strikes have come to auction, the realized prices have soared to over $5,000 or even higher for the top-graded specimens, demonstrating that collectors are willing to pay a substantial premium for the best of the best. However, it is critical to remember that these are the exceptions, not the rule. the vast majority of 1966 quarters are and will likely remain common. The pursuit of this coin is a testament to the collector's belief that in a sea of millions, a single perfect specimen is a treasure worth discovering. Next coin. Few coins in American numismatics carry the weight of a secret more effectively than the 1967 Washington quarter. To the untrained eye, it is a simple piece of change, a familiar relic from an era of social upheaval and space exploration. Yet, within the copper-nickel-clad layers of this seemingly unremarkable coin lies a story of national crisis, a hidden production history, and a market that has rewarded the keen observer with discoveries worth thousands of dollars. What makes the 1967 quarter so fascinating is that collectors are not just chasing a date. They are chasing a ghost of a coin, one that exists in two distinct states, and the difference between the two can be the difference between pocket change and a significant find. The 1967 Washington quarter was born from a financial emergency. In the mid-1960s, a global silver shortage threatened to cripple the United States coinage system. The Coinage Act of 1965 famously authorized the removal of silver from dimes and quarters, transitioning the country to a copper-nickel-clad composition that remains today. This transition fundamentally altered the quarter's metal composition to an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core, resulting in a coin weighing 5.67 grams and measuring 24.3 millimeters in diameter. The mints were put into overdrive to replace the hoarded silver coins, and the total output of fractional coins in 1967 reached a staggering record high of 7.22 billion pieces. This was not just a minting year, it was an industrial effort to stave off a nationwide cash shortage. A crucial detail that defines this coin's mystique is the complete absence of a mint mark. In a deliberate move to deter collectors from hoarding the new coins, the mint removed mint marks from all circulating coins struck between 1965 and 1967, regardless of whether they were produced in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. This means a 1967 quarter could have been struck at 3 separate facilities, yet they all look identical. While the total mintage for the year was a massive 1.5 billion pieces, it is actually a consolidation of 873 million from Philadelphia, 632 million from Denver, and 17 million from San Francisco. This lack of identity makes the coin a challenge for researchers, but has also created a unique market dynamic focused almost entirely on condition rather than origin. The true complexity of the 1967 quarter, however, lies in the existence of its twin, the Special Mint Set (SMS) coin. Because the Mint did not produce traditional proof sets or uncirculated mint sets in 1967, they offered collectors a quasi-proof product known as the Special Mint Set, with a mintage of 1.86 million. These SMS coins were struck with specially polished dies and feature a glassy, reflective, or proof-like finish that is visually distinct from the satiny, frosty luster of a regular business strike. To the novice, they may look similar, but in the hands of an experienced numismatist, the difference in surface texture is unmistakable. This has led to an interesting hierarchy, as collectors must now be wary of misidentified coins, ensuring they are purchasing the specific type they intend to own. Value of the 1967 Washington quarter is dictated almost entirely by the pursuit of perfection in its highest grades. Circulated examples are common and hold little premium, as billions were produced for commerce. However, high-grade mint state examples are surprisingly scarce in quantity due to historical gap. The mint did not produce uncirculated sets in 1967, meaning fewer coins were intentionally saved by the public in pristine condition. For a regular business strike, the true hunt is for a gem or superb gem, with a PCGS MS-68 being among the top certified examples. When such a coin comes to auction, it reflects the intense competition for high-end preservation, with examples reaching well over $1,000. Interestingly, the SMS coins tell a different story of value. While they were preserved in their original packaging, their higher survival rate in gem condition means that even a pristine example is often valued lower than its comparably graded business strike counterpart. Recent auction data shows that high-grade SMS quarters in MS67 or cameo condition frequently sell in the low to mid-three-figure range, a stark contrast to the four-figure prices achieved by the scarce business strike condition rarities. This disparity underscores the critical rule of modern numismatics. Collector value is determined more by the intersection of scarcity and demand within a specific grade than by pure mintage numbers. The market also holds a special fascination for the anomalies, the mint errors and die varieties that set individual coins apart. Collectors have documented examples of 1967 quarters with clipped planchets, broad strikes, and striking errors that can turn a common coin into a unique artifact. Perhaps the most bizarre error is the existence of a two-tailed Washington quarter, struck with two reverse dies, a mistake so unusual that it was considered nearly impossible due to die design specifications. While the 1967 quarter is not a hotbed for major doubled dies, these errors are highly sought after by specialists who see the mistake as a piece of mint history. In the final analysis, the 1967 Washington quarter is a testament to the collector's art of seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary. It is a coin that asks you to look closer, to discern the difference between a glassy finish and a satiny one, and to appreciate that a coin's true value is not just its date, but its journey and its condition. The authenticated examples that command the highest prices are those that have survived the rigors of production and circulation in a state of near-perfect preservation, reminding us that in numismatics, perfection is the rarest commodity of all. Next coin. In the vast sea of modern American coinage, few pieces present a more compelling case for the savvy collector than the 1977 D Washington quarter. Struck at the Denver Mint during a period of relative calm in American numismatics, this coin appears to be the epitome of commonality, with a staggering mintage that suggests it should hold no secrets. Yet beneath its familiar copper-nickel-clad surface lies a story of industrial precision, a challenging pursuit of perfection, and the tantalizing possibility of a mint error worth thousands of dollars. This is a coin that challenges the very definition of rarity, proving that true collectability is not always about how many were made, but about how many were made perfectly and how many mistakes slipped through the cracks to become treasures. To truly understand the 1977 D quarter, one must first acknowledge its historical context. By 1977, the United States Mint had fully transitioned to the copper-nickel-clad composition that had been authorized by the Coinage Act of 1965, a move necessitated by a global silver shortage that threatened to deplete the nation's coinage reserves. The Washington quarter, a design by John Flanagan that had remained a staple of American pocket change since 1932, was now a durable, base metal workhorse of commerce. The Denver Mint, identifiable by its distinctive D Mint mark, was tasked with producing a massive 256,524. 978 of these quarters that year, a number so immense that it seems to guarantee the coin's perpetual status as a common find. This colossal production, however, is the very foundation of the coin's numismatic paradox. While the sheer volume ensures that circulated examples are essentially worthless, it also means that coins which survived the rigors of production and handling in a state of near-perfect preservation are exceptionally rare. The pursuit of high-grade specimens is where the real challenge and investment potential of the 1977 D quarter lies. The minting process for clad coins in the 1970s was a high-speed industrial operation, not an artisan's craft. As a result, coins were subject to the inevitable bumps, scratches, and abrasions that come from being struck by worn dies and tumbled into massive canvas bags. The industry-standard grading services, PCGS and NGC, have recognized this fact, and their population reports reveal a fascinating scarcity at the top of the grading scale. While coins in lower mint state grades like MS65 are relatively common and can be found for around $10 to $25, the population drops off dramatically as you ascend the scale. In MS66 condition, the coin is considered somewhat scarce, but it is at the near-perfect grade of MS67 that it becomes a true condition rarity, with only a few dozen examples having been certified by the major grading services. This pursuit of perfection is where collector value begins to escalate. A 1977 D quarter certified at MS67 can command a price of $150 to $400 or more in the current market, and an MS67 Plus specimen has been known to sell for hundreds of dollars, reflecting the intense competition among collectors for the finest known examples. However, it is the ultimate prize, the MS68 grade, that stands as a pinnacle of modern numismatic preservation. The population data for the 1977 D in MS68 is minuscule. APMEX lists an NGC-certified MS68 example with a population of only one coin, with none graded higher. This extraordinary rarity catapults the value of such a specimen into a completely different stratosphere, demonstrating that a difference of a single point on the 70-point Sheldon scale can mean the difference between a modest premium and a four-figure investment. Yet the true legend of the 1977 D quarter is not forged solely in the pursuit of perfection, but in the spectacular deviations from it. The numismatic market has an enduring fascination with mint errors, and the 1977 D is home to some of the most famous and valuable errors in modern American coinage. The most celebrated of these is the 1977 D quarter struck on a 40% silver planchet. This remarkable transitional error occurred when a blank intended for a bicentennial silver-clad quarter, likely from a leftover supply in the mint's hopper, was fed into the presses at the Denver Mint and struck with the standard 1977 D dies. This error is a direct parallel to the famous 1943 bronze cents and is considered the single great rarity of this period. Such coins are incredibly scarce. In mint state condition, examples have been known to sell for thousands of dollars, with one realizing an astonishing $4,935 at auction in recent years, making it a true prize for advanced collectors. The mint's mistakes with the 1977 D extend beyond silver planchets. The wrong planchet error is a recurring theme, and a 1977 D quarter mistakenly struck on a bronze 1-cent planchet is another dramatic example. Because the penny planchet is smaller than a quarter, the design is significantly off-center, with portions of the motto and date missing. In 2008, an example of this error, graded MS63 red and brown by NGC, sold at heritage auctions for $1,150. Other types of errors, such as off-center strikes where the coin is misaligned with the dies, and clipped planchets resulting from a failure in the blanking machine, can also command significant premiums. An off-center strike of 50% or more with a visible date can be worth $300 to $500 or more, while a dramatic clipped planchet can sell for $50 to $250. These errors are highly sought after by variety collectors and serve as a powerful reminder that a coin's value can be determined as much by the mint's failures as by its successes. The authentication of these high-grade and error coins is paramount, and it is here that the services of professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC become essential. Their encapsulation guarantees the coin's authenticity, protects it from damage, and assigns a numerical grade that objectively defines its condition. This certification is crucial for establishing market value, as ungraded coins, no matter how promising they appear, will always command a fraction of the price of a certified example. Furthermore, these services are increasingly incorporating anti-counterfeiting technology. For instance, PCGS uses NFC chips on some holders to allow collectors to verify a coin's authenticity with a tap of a smartphone, a significant innovation that helps protect the integrity of high-value collectibles. Ultimately, the 1977 D Washington quarter offers a profound lesson in modern numismatics. Value is not a given, but a property earned through exceptional preservation or spectacular error. For every 250 million coins struck, the vast majority will remain forever worth their face value. However, the few that escape the wear of commerce in flawless condition or those that were accidentally struck on the wrong metal, have become the quarry of dedicated collectors. The auction records are clear, with certified MS-67 specimens and the legendary silver-clad eras selling for amounts that would make any finder reconsider what they are holding in their pocket change. The 1977 D-quarter is not just a coin, it is a case study in the art of seeing the extraordinary in the ordinary.